Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rise and shine. It's marketing time.
There it is. There's the dinger.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
I'm a little slow
So,
today, just so you know. So you're
are
gonna have to
you?
cover. You're just gonna have to cover me. I've been up
Okay.
since
How
2:45. I woke up, couldn't get back to sleep.
2:45?
Yeah, hate it.
2:45. That's awful. What
It
time
is.
is it in your place now? 9?
It's 9 o'clock. Yeah, so it's.
9
I've
o'clock.
been up for
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You've
six
already
and a
put in a
half
full
hours.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez Louise. I'm sorry to hear that. That's no good.
No.
So, just out of curiosity, before we get going here, or as we get going here, have there been anything that's just really interesting happen over this last week between the last show and this show?
Um. In terms of what? My life.
Just in general.
In general. Um. No, nothing good. Um, well, my mother-in-law had a stroke last week, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
been a big struggle for us. But
yeah, for sure.
kind of sets you back a little bit and makes you think about the quality of life. And my
Yeah.
wife's my wife's going, we need to go on a vacation. We haven't done anything. So
Yeah, we
anyway,
need to enjoy something for a minute.
and
Yeah.
it really is a wake up call, right? Just like many
Yep.
things. And
Yeah, yeah,
here
yeah.
goes my monitor. My monitor's going to shut off on me. You know those HDMI cables? Oh, hate them. This is an HDMI
Yeah.
connection, and it just periodically just shuts off on me. So anyway, how about you, Bradley? What's happened good for you this week?
Well, it's more interesting than anything else. There have been more opportunities to help other people in their campaigns just over this last week, and I don't know whether or not there's something in the water or what's going on, but folks are finding me in different places. They are reaching out that I haven't heard from in years. I'm getting ready to work with an artist to do a really cool campaign, and there are ways that maybe you and I can partner up on some stuff, and it just feels funny. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we're all, we're finally through a pandemic. We're in, after summer, everyone's sort of getting ready
Yeah,
for the end of the year, and they've decided that now's the time. I don't know, but I mean, it feels encouraging, even though we're in
great,
the middle of a recession
great. Yeah, yeah,
ish.
ish.
Ish, right?
Yeah. Well,
We've got inflation that's kinda crazy, you know, some businesses shutting things down and sending people home, others can't get enough people, it's just very strange. So, anyway, I was just curious,
yeah,
if
yeah.
maybe it's just me and my own observation.
Well,
So,
that's good. That's good for us and for them, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Because
I think it's good
definitely,
for everyone. Yeah,
yeah,
there's it's encouraging for sure.
yeah.
So we've got some folks that have joined us. Feel free to say hi. We're going to be sort of tackling the the big three things, maybe big four. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a list of 10 things.
Well, if
You
you
should be
got three,
doing.
I got three. That's six. I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, but we have like always, we haven't rehearsed this. There is no script here.
I did
So
write
yeah,
three
my
things down. So.
did you? Yeah,
Yeah.
my hope was to hit at least three things. And here's why. So, funny things happen. You get so busy in your business, right? So busy in your business that you don't pick your head up and try to figure out what's going on. And
That's me.
it's a very strange thing in business where cash flow, depending on who you are and where what kinds of things you do, cash flow at the end of the year is tough.
Yeah.
Um, you've got a lot of holidays coming. You've got a lot of vacations coming. You've got a lot of sort of folks that are just sort of taking a hiatus and not buying your stuff, and in trying to make sure that you're prepared for fall is really important. In one of the locations I used to live in when I lived in North Carolina, from Thanksgiving until Super Bowl Sunday, everybody in the local business environment was just hoping and praying people would buy stuff. It was horrible. It was like everyone was hibernating.
Yeah.
It was the most awful thing I've ever seen, and it just I was sort of reminiscing a bit, while we were coming up with ideas a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking, "You know what? There's probably a few things that people can do to really make a difference this fall and not be caught up in all that other hocus pocus." So, what's the first thing you have on your list?
Dang it! I shouldn't have told you I had a list.
What's the first thing you have on your list?
My list is possibly fairly generic, and I we did not plan this ahead of time, like we
No.
said. So the first thing that I wrote down is that you got to make a plan.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the fact that many of us typically will just live in our business. See, I switched.
Right.
Look at that, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I dig that. Please
Uh,
do.
uh, Plenty of us spend so much time trying to do the minute things that we forget to do the planning.
Yeah.
And in my movers mastermind, we actually yesterday did a little bit of forward thinking, planning out
Yeah.
some of the campaigns that the people showed up. We're like, well, we need to do some planning. You're right. We need to plan
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ahead. And so I'm just simply riffing off of what you said as well, is that we have to make time to get ourselves out of the business, look overview, and make a plan. And there's plenty of things that you can do, which we're going to talk about coming up. But you got to come up with a plan first. You can't just wing this like we did with the show, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Real fascinated by understanding what you're talking about when you talk about planning. In the reason I'm asking is in my mind, there are 2 types of planning that I do with my own teams, I've been doing for a long time. One is strategy and the other is tactics, right? So, strategy doesn't have to happen very often. But it has to be this overarching, long looking forward kind of thing. When you have had success in this sort of strategic planning, how often do you do strategic planning? Oh, no. Oh, never mind. Maybe that was the wrong question. Ah!
Well, what I'm laughing because planning has been one of my most horrible
Okay.
traits, which is why I bring it up. But the older I get and the more things that happen in life, the more I understand about how business works. The struggle that I've had with the people that I have worked with over the last 8 years have been very intermittent, right? Like I've told you
Oh,
before, most of the
yeah, yeah.
campaigns I've ever done with companies are one offs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yep.
so they may have a strategic plan. They may know what they're doing for this month or next month or whatever, but they come to me and they say, well, I need this campaign in October.
Right.
And so there wasn't a whole lot of overarching planning going on. And I was serving
Yeah.
clients at their whim.
Yeah.
So in my own business, I suck at planning.
Cool.
Just telling you the
Awesome.
truth.
No, I appreciate the honesty in it. And I think that if we were all honest with ourselves, we'd probably say that we probably don't plan enough. I mean,
Yeah,
even good
yeah,
planners
yeah.
probably don't feel like they plan enough.
I would agree.
Um, and what's interesting is on a strategy kind of perspective, I think once a year or twice a year is probably enough. That forward-looking stuff, I mean, unless you go into, like, a pandemic or something, not a lot of things that dramatically impact your strategy change any. But the tactics of how to accomplish what you're talking about needs to happen pretty regularly, right?
Yeah,
Either every
right.
month or every quarter. And I think that people sort of get those 2 things confused. So I appreciate you talking about planning, right? Let's talk about, forward-looking stuff and then, just develop your goals on that, and then every quarter, every month, come back and try to figure out, "Well, what am I doing this month and next month and the following month to make good on the goals that I set aside for the strategy?" So, um, that's awesome. And every quarter, kinda going into fall is a perfect time to do that,
Right.
right? Here we are getting ready. to go into October, right? As soon as, I
Right.
mean, 7, 8 more days, 9 more days, whatever it is,
Jeez.
we're gonna
Yeah.
be in the last quarter of the year 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we have, I don't know, we've got a little more than a week to sort of figure it out for this last quarter. And one of the things that sort of struck me is I was shopping not very long ago, and the stuff for Halloween came out. I'm starting to see
Uh-huh.
stuff for Christmas come out. And I'm wondering whether or not the local businesses and the digital businesses that I'm working with have even considered any of that yet. Right? I mean, the retail folks have got it really
Yeah.
well sorted out.
Right.
But
Right.
there are some major events coming up. This is like my one tip right now. I mean, the one of the three. There are major events coming up in this last quarter that you can take advantage of. People are interested in seeing stuff that is thematic for the different holidays or the different events that are coming. There's no reason why you can't drop into somebody's inbox, why you can't do pay per click advertising or run a new campaign that is thematic right now,
Right.
and you're gonna need some time to figure it out. So now's a good time to sort of sit down and figure out, well, what's this fall special? What's the Thanksgiving special? What's the Halloween special? And then put together a campaign
Right.
that just generates a whole bunch of leads associated to that and start selling some stuff.
Well, and this may be a little, I don't know. One of the things that we talked about in my mastermind was going back to your avatar, your people that are your perfect people.
Yeah.
And we think we know what the major things that are going on in their lives coming up this fall.
Yep.
Obviously, Black Friday is a big deal for retailers,
Right.
and it's surprising because one of my mastermind members is um, in retail, but
Mhm.
he doesn't have all of his campaigns planned out yet.
Sure.
He's kind of
Sure.
a solopreneur kind of retail guy. He doesn't have a
Yep.
storefront, physical
Yeah.
storefront. He has a web based thing,
Right.
but he's like, well, should I be doing Black Friday? Should I be doing something different? And so we did some brainstorming on that. But one of the things I said that I'm trying to get to my point is talk to your people, find out what they're focusing on, what
Yep.
they think is important, because it may be different in your niche. This guy that I'm talking about actually is in fraternity and sorority gear, right? The
Yep.
paraphernalia stuff. Um, and college holidays are possibly different than
For
what
sure.
you and I are doing. So
Yeah.
focus,
For
and
sure.
this is your deal, right? Focus on what
Yeah.
your avatar wants. Don't just go, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Maybe your avatar is not in the United
Yeah.
States and doesn't care a patootie about Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So pay
Right.
attention
Well,
to that.
yeah, and I think to sort of piggyback on that, when you're talking about an avatar, right? We talked earlier, or at least we do this in the master class. The primary thing to understand about your avatar is what they're focused on,
Right,
right? And their focus may change throughout the year. Right now, I mean, I could tell you if somebody is marketing to me, I will tell you right now, if anybody is marketing to me, there are stresses right now. We've got back to school, which means a college kid going back to school. That means tuition, expenses, and other things. That means the family gets separated at times because it's just not the way it used to be.
right,
There's a Christmas holiday coming up that folks are going to have some gifts. We're going to be receiving individuals to come and visit. We're trying to sort out, where things are with a business and how it's going to land at the end of the year with taxes and other things. There's a lot going on
right.
that if you can tap into what I'm focused on, all of a sudden it's very easy for me to go, oh yeah, no, I get that. If you're going to make it easier for me to send my kid to college, or you're going to make it easier for me to receive family and friends at my house, or you're going to make it easier at tax time, now's the time to start talking to me.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why
And
all the retail places have all their Halloween stuff out.
That's right.
weeks ago.
Yeah. That's right. So, yeah, so that was at the top of my list. It is trying to take advantage of the events that are happening, but I really appreciate this sort of refocus on the avatar. And can you quickly modify the avatar? I think you can. And I mean, it's pretty not very difficult to go back up and say, "Hey, look, in this long list of things, this is what they're focused on. Because they're focused on this, here are the challenges that they're going to have. Here's the answers to the questions that they need. Here's sort of the demon that's going to beat them up. And if I can answer all of those and provide an offer that takes care of all of that, I have an amazing solution for this time in their life." And now you have a seasonal campaign that you could relaunch next year.
Yeah,
You don't have to worry about it.
yeah. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, you've actually highlighted something that yesterday, the gentleman that I'm talking about this in the sororities, he is specifically focused on black sororities. Okay.
Okay.
And it just dawned on me while we're talking that yesterday
Yeah.
we were talking about Black Friday and Christmas promotions. And what I
Yep.
should have said is, hey, AJ, why aren't we talking about Kwanzaa? Right? Isn't that a
Yeah.
significant black community
Yeah.
holiday? As
Yeah.
opposed to, obviously, I
Yeah.
think Christmas has become so
Yeah.
broad that
Yeah.
it's not just
Yeah.
a Christian holiday, right? But
Yep.
why isn't he doing a Kwanzaa special?
Yeah, he could do Kwanzaa, he could do Juneteenth, he could do
Right,
MLK, he could
right.
do, Black Awareness Month or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And I think
we've
that
done
that's
those,
kinda
but yeah, I'm sorry.
right, and so I think that's another thing that's important here is as you're doing seasonal stuff, start writing down the seasonal activities and the seasonal things that resonate with the crowd that you have. Every crowd is different. They're all
Right,
focused on different things,
right,
and those seasonal events. I mean, is Valentine's Day really something that you're going to be celebrating? Maybe, maybe not. The luck of the Irish something that you wanna take care of?
right,
Okay, that's cool
right,
too. But there's all kinds of, stuff. I mean, it could be football, it could be basketball, it could be, whatever. But, every crowd is different, and now's the time to start writing down what those seasonal campaigns can be, and
there
don't
are.
take them all on at once. Take on one,
Yeah,
and then next year, do the next one.
yeah.
What else do you have on your list?
Make sure you keep those. Once you build them, you've got them, so redo them.
Yes.
Focusing on what you just said, I've forgotten the exact words you said.
Oh, I don't
Resonate
know
was
either.
the word you said. But the second thing I wrote down was in thinking about those things, focus on things. This is Mitch's opinion. Focus on things
Awesome.
that you can make engaging and provide energy to. Because
For sure.
what we're talking about all the time is word of mouth. And when we're asking somebody to refer somebody else, if they don't feel the energy for what your offer is, they're not going to share it.
Right.
And by bringing in gamification and focusing on things, we do this all the time in my mastermind, and I'm going to try and apply my mastermind, but it is resonating with me, to use your words. We're constantly looking for ways to re-engage with people, because even if once you've got somebody in your campaign, if you're doing a contest or whatever your little campaign is for the month or the week or whatever, you want those people that you've gotten signed up to stay engaged. And you got to focus on bringing energy, and you got to focus on finding things, because once you have those things, like for example, just even in Upfire words, custom actions to get people to go do something, right? To get
Mhm.
them some points, that provides you the opportunity to be in their inbox again.
Right.
Which is the last thing
Exactly.
I wrote down was send more emails. But
That's
you've
right.
got to have a reason to email them, right? I mean, they have to
Yeah.
feel it too, because otherwise
Yeah,
they're just
and
going to go delete.
yeah, right, and then I think that's kind of the cool part about these sort of holidays. There's the trick to these kinds of campaigns is finding the reason to engage with people, right?
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Hey, how's the weather?" But you can say, "Dude, what's gonna happen in your front lawn is, kids are coming up and, want candy during Halloween or uh-oh, there are strangers coming to your door during Halloween." I mean, there's all kinds of different things you could do with those kinds of events where people will go, "Yeah, I totally get it. I'm open in this. Yeah, this is where we are today." And I'm so glad that they sent this along because now I learned something.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good stuff. That's cool. Um, so the other thing that I was thinking about in my list here is the the time for gift giving is coming. So what kinds of giveaways can you create that will allow your crowd to give a gift or receive a gift? How can you participate in the gift giving kind of process, whether it's white elephant gifts or it's really amazing packages that would be nothing but amazing for someone in the crowd to say, "This is so awesome that I got this during the holiday season between Christmas and or Thanksgiving and Christmas that I just don't know what to do with myself." How can you prepackage something? How can you partner with someone? How can you change the current offer so that it takes on a gift giving idea?
Hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah. I think it would be a lot of fun to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
If
and and may but
no, you go.
no, you go.
No, you go because I just forgot what I was going to say because you sent it back to me.
Sorry.
All right,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Uh, so so it could be even the same offer packaged differently for every new holiday, right? It could be the same exact thing that you're giving away. It could be the same exact um, offer, but just decorated different, packaged different, or or keyworded different, whether it's the hook on the
Right.
headline or something else. But you can make it super relevant for a specific holiday, um,
Can
even if it's not for the fall. It could be all the way through the rest of the year.
can you give me an example?
So, yeah, I could. One of the coolest campaigns that I ever did was a gentleman who is very well known in the artist community, and he has an amazing Facebook group. And that Facebook group is just all about the coaching that he does online. He coaches artists to actually earn income, and then he produces packages to show them how to do different kinds of art. And he and I worked on a campaign a few years ago that was everything but the kitchen sink, right? It was like, if you want the ultimate package from this guy, then all you have to do is put your name in the hat, and we're gonna draw out one name for, the one at random, and then we're gonna give 2 more away. There's 3 more packages or 3 total packages. Now, we could redo that at Christmas time, and we could say, "It for the artist you know in your life,
Hmm.
here is an opportunity for them to get the coolest package on the planet and a great opportunity for you to give a gift of either this package or something else that this
Hmm.
guy sells, right? So
So
we could package
it's
it
not
up
about
as
me,
a
it's about you, or it's about the recipient.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then or you could, even you could even repackage it during Valentine's Day. Do
Right.
you have a loved one
Right.
that is an artist?
Right.
What better way to say you really appreciate who they are than their opportunity to win this amazing package, right? Or
That's
you
cool.
put your name in lieu of them, and then you can claim the package for them, right? So there's all kinds of, I think, different ways to put together this thing. And when we did it, it was a generic package at a generic time, and we had to turn it off. The guy generated 350,000 dollars in revenue in the first 3 months, and he
Wow.
said, "I can't do this anymore. I've got slow down." So the ad buyer and I said, "Okay, well, you tell us when to turn it back on." And at the end of the year, he says, "Man, I can't tell you how great that was. That was
Huh,
amazing."
nice.
And it was a lot of fun for us. But he got to a point where he just tapped out. He just couldn't
That's
do it anymore.
that's a fascinating idea. Um, because I don't think I've ever really thought of it in that context. I mean, we talk about, right, my magic triangle of get your friend to win, right, and you win
Right.
too.
Yep.
But here's the opportunity to be able to gift it to somebody else. And if you're really uncomfortable with that, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a rephrasing, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's
Exactly.
just simply a rephrasing. But um, it's also a possible question. I mean, if we phrase a campaign like you could give this as a gift to your loved one,
Yep.
maybe it's something I want too, right? Maybe it's
That's right.
so if
Yes, sir.
you gave the opportunity to say, well, both of you will win.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the same gift, maybe it's something different, but
Yeah.
that is such a
Absolutely.
struggle many people have. I'm going to switch back to me. It's such a struggle that many people have to figure out what's a good gift, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if you're twisting this to be able to say, right, you're struggling with finding somebody gifts at Christmas time, here's the opportunity for
Right.
something for that perfect person. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
really
And
cool.
oftentimes the way these things are packaged, right? If they're so good that their people are willing to crawl through broken glass to get, the value or perceived value of the package is amazing. Generally something that we probably couldn't afford while we're trying to buy gifts for everybody else, right?
Right, right.
So what a neat opportunity to drop in and say, "You wanna give somebody a $10,000 gift without having to pay for it?"
Yeah,
I mean, this is
yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
And
It is.
and then what happens is when you don't win, right, during the year, you continue to get special offers for that same kind of thing, and now you have a way to get back in and provide someone a gift that you probably think they would really enjoy.
Yeah,
So, it could be their birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be just because, I mean, all kinds of different ways, but yeah, it's certainly a way to take what you're already doing and not have to work super extra hard, but have another reason to launch a campaign.
that's phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That's
What
my
else is
tip
on
of the
your list?
week. That's my big takeaway from today's show. Was holy cow.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
I wrote something down while you were talking.
Yeah,
It wasn't something that I had planned, but it's something that I've been exploring and trying to figure out different ways of doing something. And you mentioned football season, Thanksgiving, and there's a tool. They're actually in St. Louis, and it's called Second Street, and they were recently acquired by somebody, and they have a tool. It's like a web-based tool, and they do
yeah.
contests and stuff. But one of the things that they have in their software that I have not seen in very many places is a bracket system.
Oh,
And I don't know that this totally fits in with anything, but I keep thinking about this. And the idea, especially for anybody that's doing local stuff, is that if you have a bracket system, and what we're talking about, for those who may not know, there's your cat. See, I locked mine out so she wouldn't be
yeah,
here.
well, I wasn't smart enough.
Um, most people are familiar with the brackets that they do, like
Yep,
in March Madness and stuff. So you got
yep, yep,
teams that are going against each other, and then the winner
yep,
advances, and so in in Second Street, what they do is they like put two businesses together, or let's say they want to do a bracket for the best pizza joint in town,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's a voting system, so the people have to come in and say, well, today's bracket is Paula's Pizza and Betty Lou's Pizza fighting against each other. Who
Yeah, yeah,
wins? And
yeah.
then it goes down.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it goes back to what I was talking about with engagement. If you get people engaging with something like that, if you have a way of implementing something like that, it's a fantastic way to get promotion. Now, sometimes maybe the businesses don't want to lose, right?
Right,
Maybe
alright.
they
Yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah.
that's a negative
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're
yeah.
on the losing end of the bracket system, but it's still publicity and it's still engaging, and
Sure.
people may not have ever heard of Betty Lou's Pizza, right? So
Yeah.
it's a way of getting things to promote, and it's one of those other things that I'm talking about gamification and
Yep.
engagement, because if you can create a system like that or use a tool, imagine the possibilities for your business. And let's say AJ, who's got the sororities, he's got multiple sororities, and they love to say the other sororities not
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate the other group of people,
that's
and
right.
so a voting system like that. But even if you're just a single business, you can still take like brands that are in your niche, and you could have battles. It's not your product, but it's in the same niche. You can still get the
Right.
engagement from people if you can find a bracketing system like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You 2 things. First is you've used the term gamification now twice,
Ah,
and not everybody knows what gamification is or might think that it's sort of a fancy buzzword. So, what are you trying to convey when you say gamification?
typically, gamification can be done manually. You can use tools to do it, but the idea is to find a way for people to engage by tracking their progress. If you're really going to pull it down to uh, actual system, then you want people to gain points to maybe potentially reach a goal. You can allocate points for them doing activities. You can allocate points for them bringing in friends into your world. There's all kinds of different ways of doing that. But the idea is simply that you're providing a mechanism or a tool to get them to react. And the more they react, the more they earn.
Yeah,
Does
yep.
that work?
Yep, it does, and so, it reminds me of when I was a kid, and, my father used to travel a lot when I was in middle school and first part of high school. He used to travel a lot. I mean, he'd be gone for months, and then he would come back, and we would spend the first weekend at the video arcade.
Yeah.
And we were doing it for a couple different reasons. One is it was a great way to spend time with dad, but it was another way for dad to sort of blow off steam after he had been traveling around. And we would do this, and then we'd play pinball, we would play, other video games, and every time we went back, we wanted to see whether our names were still on the high score board, right?
Right.
And if it wasn't, we were plunking quarters into the crazy thing so that we could get back onto the high score. And and I think that's kind of what you're describing is
Right.
is if you could figure out how to get folks to continue to plunk quarters in to get in the high score because we're naturally competitive.
Yeah.
Most of us are naturally
Yeah.
competitive. Then, how do we do that? And the benefit is there's more quarters in the machine, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so I totally get that, and, with what you're describing, I think it's also an interesting way to do market research. Right, you're talking about this bracketing. Well, are you trying to offer a product or a service and maybe it's provided by someone else or it's got a series of features? Is there a way for you to do a bracket contest on the set of features?
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
is there a way for you to do a bracket contest on the brands or on the bundles? Sort of which ones works best, and then reward the people who participated in helping you refine it so that now all of a sudden you have a really, really amazing campaign
Right.
that can follow along for lead generation, and these folks get rewarded for telling you how things went along the way. Um, you could even make a name for yourself as a local marketer by just pitting other businesses against each other, right? Like
Yeah.
kind of like you were talking about pizza shops. They
Right.
don't have to the pizza shop doesn't have to be the one to sign up, right? You could you could just create it and say, "Hey, look, we're doing a best restaurants in I don't know, St. Louis, and we're gonna, the top 4 or 5, that have been rated in other publications in Chinese and Mexican, Italian, so on and so forth, and then we're gonna find out who's the winner of them all."
Yeah. Well,
And when
and
you do
you go
yeah,
ahead.
but
No, I
I
think
was
I
gonna
was
say
going
when
to
you
say the
wh
same thing you
What
are.
when you what I was gonna say was when you end up doing that, you end up generating leads for people who are interested in all of those restaurants, and you get a chance to then go back to those restaurants and say, "See what I just did there? I've got a whole bunch of folks that might be interested in your restaurant. You wanna offer something to them?" And now you have a local campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? That's not what I was
What?
going to say.
That's awesome.
Even if you create this thing without the businesses knowing in advance, you could
Yep.
also go to them once the
Yeah.
campaign's launched and you can say, hey, by the way, I put you in over here. If you
Yeah.
want people to vote, here's a flyer, here's a QR code that takes
Sure.
people straight to the campaign. You can stuff the
Yeah.
ballot box. All you got to do is tell your people.
That's right.
And then suddenly now you've got them competing against each other, right?
Yep.
To get the
Yep.
most votes. And
Yep.
it's okay with
Yep.
you if they stuff the ballot box, right? You don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't yeah, that
So
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. It doesn't
I'm
have to
really
be
keen on
fair.
this. Yeah, exactly. I'm really keen on this bracket system, and every time I it works its way back into my vision, I'm like, there are so many possibilities with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's a really clever idea, and it dovetails directly into this word of mouth thing, right?
yeah,
Because like you're talking about, it's a way to stuff ballot boxes, it's a way for you to compete online. You could share it in social media or whatever to say, "Who do you think is the best? I just voted for X, Y, and Z." There can be all kinds of really cool things that happen with it, and,
exactly.
it just depends on whether or not you end up down a rabbit hole all year long trying to figure out how to make the campaign work, or you just throw something up on a up viral campaign and just make it happen, right? I mean, there's
Right, right.
all kinds of distractions that are available to us.
Yes.
So,
And
that's cool.
I still have yet to figure out how's a really good way to do it in up viral, but I'm working on it. And
Bracket campaign and up
yeah,
viral?
yeah.
Interesting. There's gotta be there's well, I don't know if there's gotta be a way, but
Uh,
maybe it's a custom action or something.
it's there are possibilities there, and it's not as easily implemented, I don't think. But I do know that their newer editor than the old one gives you so many
Yeah,
more capabilities for creating those kind of content things than it used to. So
for sure.
I once I get my head on something, I tend to not forget about it. But I haven't noodled enough on that one yet. But I
Well, it
but
doesn't take
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it doesn't usually take you very long to sort of figure stuff out, so I'm
No.
excited to
Well,
see what you come up with.
there actually has been a case study. If you go over to UpViral, there's a case study on a, contest that was done in Germany,
Okay.
and it wasn't a bracket system, but it was a voting system. And what they did was they implemented. I think there were 12 different barbecue restaurants in Switzerland or something, some
Okay.
community that had, and they created an up viral campaign for each one of them. So there were 10 different up viral campaigns,
Okay.
and each one highlighted a specific restaurant.
Yeah.
And they had a voting. They did the voting through the number of entries in those campaigns. So that's certainly more complicated than I would like it to be, but I do know
Yeah.
that that was done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and so that
That
case
makes sense.
study is out there if you're interested in it out there. And we haven't mentioned this lately, but there are several people watching. So if you want to pop in and have a question or say,
Make
"Hey,
a comment,
Bradley, that's an
tell us we're
awesome
way
point,"
off.
or tell
Yeah.
us that Bradley's full of hooey,
Yeah.
any of
That's
those
fine
things,
too. Yeah.
pop in a
I
comment and
I
we'd be happy to
I
chat.
live I thrive on negative comments. I double dog dare you.
uh,
Oh, man.
or double cat dare you.
So, did we exhaust your list?
Yes. My list is
Okay.
empty. How about yours?
I just have one more sort of, I don't know, in general comment. Um, the l this last quarter can be very, very busy time of year. It can, you're distracted with lots of things inside and outside of your business, and I would highly recommend spending just, I don't know, the better part of this next week focusing on what you can do over this last quarter, but then again into the first quarter of next year. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get through Christmas and New Year's, and that week between Christmas and New Year's, it is either, I mean, if you're retail, that is just bananas. There's no spare space for anything. If you're in restaurants or food service, all the same is true. If you're in a service business, you're probably trying to just recover from what has just happened, and you're not gonna have the energy to do this. And I would highly recommend you sit here and you look at what are the events I want to participate in, what are the offers, what is my avatar focused on in these particular moments in their lives, and at least scribble together a plan for yourself so that you don't kind of pick your head up after the first of the year, with a New Year's resolution that what you're gonna do is you're gonna plan your business.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so far behind. It's gonna be crazy. And, yeah, I mean, I think that would be sort of my last one is sort of takeaway is don't do it just based on this quarter. Do it on the next 2 quarters.
That's a
You're gonna be in
fantastic
trouble.
comment. And this is Mick, by the way. Mick says that negative comments make me want to do more. Yeah.
That's
Thank you, Mick.
awesome. Oh, goodness.
So, and it is very true. I just double highlighting what you said because we do run out of energy by the end of the year. And when January comes along, we have all these New Year's resolutions and they're painful and man, we really need to do this and this is a great time to do planning and by then it's too late. You're absolutely right. Do it
Yeah.
early. Do it now.
Yeah, I have a ritual that I have been doing for about 3 or 4 years now, and it works out famously, and I so my birthday is the end of September, my wife's birthday is at the end of November,
Happy
and I
birthday.
do a birthday thank you, I do a birthday to birthday challenge of my own, and it's usually something like between these 2 days, I'm gonna focus on 1 thing or 2 things, and I'm generally getting back to basics. By the time we're 3/4 of the way into the year, a lot has kinda gone awry, and I'm sort of in my own lane based on what's happened during the year, but not necessarily what I wanted to happen during the year. If that makes any sense to anybody. So, what I try to do is I take this time, and even though it's not every day, and it may not be a ton of time every day, it is a singular focus on what it is I'm trying to accomplish, and that way I go into this end of the year without having to do, New Year's resolutions. I'm not a resolution kinda guy, but it's a way for me to reset. And that's kinda one of the other reasons why I thought this topic was really salient because a couple weeks ago, I was thinking, "Hmm, what am I gonna do for my own birthday to birthday challenge?" And then what could businesses do what could business owners do for their kind of birthday to birthday challenge if they chose it? And one thing very deliberate, and hopefully at the end of it, you have learned a lot about yourself, and you've learned a lot about what it is that you can accomplish, if you're very, very focused on it. And it doesn't take a long time, and but it sets you up for the next year. So
That's awesome.
anyway, that's how I ended up here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
Anybody out there have a takeaway from today's show? Something that really resonated with you? I've had several.
That's
So
good.
thought I'd ask.
I'm excited by that, because and I have too. I like this bracketing thing. I've never heard the idea, and I think it's really awesome to think about that. And I'm encouraged because when we first started, we were like, "I'm so tired." So,
I always get fired up by this topic.
yeah, no, I dig it. I
Always.
dig it
Yeah.
too.
Sometimes
I did.
I'm like, oh man, I gotta do a show like yesterday on Wednesday. Oh, I've set myself up to do a live stream, and then within 2 or 3 minutes, I'm like, yeah, do this, do that, yeah, let's do. And so
That's awesome.
it
That's good.
and it is frankly, here's your time. By the way, we're gonna wrap this up and land the plane, as Bradley likes to say. So you
Yep.
got 20, 30 seconds. If you got a question to pop in,
Yep.
comment. Let's do
Better
it now.
better do it now.
But I've told you before that my previous iteration of Planet Mitch or Mitch was having to do with cameras and photography and video and stuff that I
Yep.
really enjoyed. I was more of a photography person. I learned that I didn't like video so much, but I had this imposter syndrome to some degree, and we've talked about that, right?
Yep.
And I have no imposter syndrome when it comes to this. I don't know everything. You guys know
No.
that have watched this that I don't
Yeah.
know all the answers to Bradley's questions, and he doesn't know the answers to mine sometimes.
Nope.
But I feel so passionate about this because I firmly believe that this kind of marketing, word of mouth marketing, is a revolution that is completely untapped. And Mick will tell you I preach about this all the time. Gotten him wrapped up in it now because it's so valuable. I say this all the
Yep.
time. The statistic is people who are referred are 4 times more likely. It's been documented. It's a fact. It may not be applied perfectly to every business, every campaign, but people who are referred are 4 times more likely to buy,
Yep.
and therefore, why the hell aren't you going after these people? If you got a pot of buyers over here and you got a pot of people over here that are maybe buyers, who would you rather be talking to? Let's go after
Yeah.
the ones that are ready to spend money. Let's go get them. So anyway, we have no new additional comments. Where can people find you, Bradley?
So you can still get my viral marketing masterclass at wordofmouthmarketingsecrets.com, and you can email me at bradley@waldropcommunications.com, or you can call me at 916-314-0413. I'll do that one more time: wordofmouthmarketingsecrets.com, bradley@waldropcommunications.com, and 916-314-0413. And you?
I find it amazing that you're willing to give out your phone number. It still astounds me because I don't want anybody to know my phone because I don't answer the damn thing.
Oh, see, I'm on the phone with people all the time.
Yeah,
It's my business model. My business
yeah,
model is high touch service,
yeah.
and so yeah, I appreciate that you don't like to give it out, but oh, I'll give you my address too if you want it.
Yeah. People sitting on your doorstep. Knock, 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 knock.
Yeah, that's fine.
So people can reach me. The simple thing to do is to go to, here's my plug, joinmitch.com and get on my newsletter because I send out all my communications through email
Yep,
and you'll be in the know. So
for
thanks,
sure.
Bradley.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us, everyone. Even though you didn't have any questions,
Yeah.
we'll see you next time.
All right, Bradley. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you next
All
week.
right.
Same bat time, same
Yep.
bat channel.